She gonna leave?
As far as I know, I was at the school. We had like an hour and a half break. Like, okay, I'm gonna run over there.
Virginia, you reading the Boulevard resolution?
Yes.
Oh, very okay. No problem. Sorry.
Yes, yes. So that was cool. Thank you for passing.
That's what we do.
But it's good. I'm glad that there's two. Yeah, I missed everything.
Huh?
They had a little. So when I came, we just ready.
Dr. Varner thought we might have had the wrong council district on the one for on Ireland Road. Our map shows it that way, so I don't know if his map is wrong or my map is wrong. I don't know.
Oh, you said on Ireland Road?
Yeah, the Ireland Road one. So I don't know if you have like an official map someplace that you look at.
Yeah, we have several maps.
Because the map hanging in his office is from 2009, and we think maybe it was redistricted after that.
It was.
So.
His district shouldn't have changed that much, but it was changed after 2009.
Okay, I was just trying to track it down, so I have to see if David looked it up on the right.
Yeah, here, go to the council, and there's one on the council website too. Go to the council website and click in it, and the map should come up.
Sure. Graham, what is he?
No, he plays pretty well. He's broken 80.
One minute. What's your handicap?
I was happy with it
Graham, you guys ready?
because I couldn't button it. Worse. Like great things.
Work out some less.
That's right.
Okay, you ready?
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's nice.
A contract. I know. Good evening. The Monday, May 22nd, Common Council meeting is now in session. Minister Laquita Hughes from New Horizons Outreach Ministries is here to do our invocation. Ms. Hughes, thank you for coming.
Greetings, everyone.
Greetings.
If it is custom for council, I ask that you bow your heads. If not, we understand.
You're good.
Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you on behalf of all who have gathered here today. I thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life and the measure of health we need to fulfill our callings for substance and friendship. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing our responsibilities. Thank you for loving us so. In the scriptures, you have said, citizens are to obey the governing authorities. Since you have established those authorities to promote peace, order, and justice, therefore I pray for our mayor, various levels of city officials, and in particular this assembled council today. I'm asking that you grant them interest and the wisdom to govern conflicting issues relating to our city, and especially of these perilous times. Thank you, and I ask that you grant them a sense of welfare and true needs of our people. For scripture also says, if the people prosper, then our city prospers. I pray that you grant them a discernment to thirst for right and justice. I pray that you would grant them the ability to work together in harmony. I pray that you would grant them the confidence within good and fitting. I pray that you would grant them each personal peace in their own lives and joy within their committees. I pray for the agenda set here today. Please give them an assurance of what would please you and what would benefit those who live and work in and around our great city of South Bend. I pray these things in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Ms. Fowler, roll call, please.
Councilmember Preston?
Here.
Councilmember Kelly? Excused. Councilmember Broughton?
Here.
Councilmember Varner?
Present.
Vice President Davis?
Present.
Councilmember Vorty?
Here.
Councilmember Furlick?
Here.
Councilmember White?
Present.
President Scott?
Present.
8 present.
Thank you. Report on subcommittee minutes, please.
Report of Subcommittee on Minutes. To the Common Council of the City of South Bend, the subcommittee has inspected the minutes of the May 8, 2017 meeting of the council and found them to be correct. Therefore, we recommend the same be approved.
Motion to accept. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Special business, 1724. Ms. Fowler?
1724, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, publicly commending and honoring the 7th grade students of Navarre Intermediate Center on a successful campaign to advance equality and promote healthy food options for all students in the City of South Bend Community School Corporation.
Thank you. Name and address, please.
Regina Williams Preston. I reside at 838 North Elmer Street, South Bend, Indiana.
Thank you.
I come here today with the pleasure of introducing Ms. Monique Love, a public school teacher right here at South Bend Community School Corporation. I think we need to clap because it's just public school. You can wish. She's like, no. As you heard in the title, we are honoring today an entire 7th grade class, of whom Ms. Love will be representing today. We are going to duplicate this process actually in the school because we couldn't get all of these kids here, but we want to make sure they have an opportunity. So we're scheduling that within the last few days of school, going to join them at their lunch hour. So I will go forth with reading of our latest resolution. Whereas America lives its values of justice for all through the ongoing struggle for equality. For not long ago, separate but equal was the law in the United States and mandated that facilities and services such as housing, medical care, education, employment, and transportation be segregated by race. However, separate facilities provided to African Americans were rarely equal or did not exist at all. And whereas last week, we celebrated the 63rd anniversary of Brown versus Board of Education, the landmark Supreme Court case which declared that separate public schools for black and white students are unconstitutional. And yet we know that racism and discrimination still exists in American schools today. Our challenge is to recognize, resist, and reform the subtle and sometimes not so subtle manifestations of inequity. And whereas the demographics of schools in South Bend show de facto segregation, students of color make up 69% of the South Bend Community School Corporation, but 95% of the students at Navarre. National data indicates that schools made up of mostly children of color operate with fewer resources, limiting the students' access to educational opportunities, including healthy food choices in school lunches. And whereas, like most children attending schools in low-income neighborhoods, many Navarre students live in a food desert where children don't have access to fresh produce and depend on healthy food choices being offered at the schools. Whereas Navarre Intermediate 7th grade students learned about peaceful protests in their study of the Civil Rights Movement and were inspired to apply what they learned by taking action to advance equality in their own lives. Recognizing that good nutrition is important for physical and mental development, they organized to get a salad bar and a fruit bar, which were provided in other schools as part of the school lunch options. Whereas progress rarely comes without a struggle, every student in the 7th grade signed a petition, and for an entire week, students brought their lunch or chose not to eat. When met with the resistance of bureaucracy and red tape, students worked together with the help of some of their teachers to analyze and overcome barriers. And whereas the Director of Food and Nutrition and the Superintendent of the South Bend Community School Corporation contacted the students, The principal convened a town hall, and ever so eloquently, 5 students, Kajan Grimes, Chase Shabazz, Willetta Halbert, Trinity Robertson, and Tayana Lyons spoke out. Whereas the school corporation granted their request by opening the salad bar for the entire school on April 13, 2017, and thanks to the perseverance and commitment of the 7th grade students, all children at Navarre Intermediate Center will now enjoy the benefit of fresh produce as part of their daily meal. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, as follows. The Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, publicly honors and congratulates the Navarre Intermediate Center 7th grade student body for a successful campaign to advance equality and ensure that school lunches provide healthy food options to all students throughout the South Bend Community School Corporation. We look forward to these students being the leaders of tomorrow and to continue the fight for diversity and inclusion and to be a model for city leaders, educators, and all adults in the City of South Bend. This resolution shall be in full force and effect from after its adoption by the council and approval by the mayor.
Okay. I'm Miss Love, Miss Monique Love. I teach 7th grade language arts in Boulevard Intermediate Center at 4719 West Sample Street. I've been teaching for 6 years at Navarre. It was just a book. We started off with a book, Fire from the Rock by Sharon Draper, which is historical fiction around the Little Rock Nine, and we talked about the civil rights era and protests, and it just kind of stemmed from there. And I said, what was something you were protesting against or for? And they said, a better lunch. I'm like, well, what's wrong with it? And they had a lot of reasons why it's not the best. And I said, well, why are you eating it? I said, I guarantee you if you don't eat it, somebody's going to move. I didn't know that they were actually listening that day, and they came up with a petition, and when they're like, we got every 7th grader to sign, I'm like, okay, you got to sign away your rights. You know, you don't even know. Monday came around, and no one ate. I was like, I didn't know that they were that serious. And so Tuesday came around, no one ate. You know, maybe 20 students ate, and they were bringing their own lunches from home, and they were making sandwiches, and they were looking out for each other. And that week alone, our 7th grade suspension rate was like 1. We had like 1 kid suspended. You know, something previous. It wasn't even in that week. So they were able to, you know, took what they learned in class from a book and apply it to life. And, you know, you can hear them saying, you know, when something's not, you know, not right. You can hear them using words like protest and solidarity and freedom. And I'm like, oh, wow. I mean, don't do that in my class, but great. Yeah, so I'm really, really extremely proud of them. They thought nothing would happen. So it's a really good thing that the city is recognizing 7th grade at Navarre. Thank you.
This time, any comments from council? Ms. White?
Just like to thank you for your work and for what you've been able to take a situation that from a book to apply it and make it more practical for the students to really grasp the intent and to put it into action. And so they will always remember you as a teacher, but most importantly, they will remember that their voice did count.
Thank you.
Great work and a really great outcome.
Thank you.
Yes, congratulations.
It is truly an honor to congratulate you tonight. I believe they believed in you because they've seen you advocate for things. They've seen you, they've seen your mom advocate, you live in the neighborhood, you are there by the school, they see it, and so they believe it. And so on behalf of those of us who live in the 6th District in Navarre right down the street, we want to say thank you. And as a member of the South Bend Schools myself, it's truly an honor to hear good things about our students. I'm over at Dickinson, and so sometimes we don't always hear great things about our students, and it's really exciting to hear this. So when we were reading this and knowing it was you, it was exciting to be here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's great that you were able to take a situation from a book. The kids learned how to take it and apply it practically and in their own words to the situation, to a change that they wanted. and apply it, and not only practically, but professionally, if you can say that for a 7th grade, someone of that age. So kudos to you and kudos to the kids. Good for everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, I could sit here and listen to you recount this many times because there's so many elements. The book, the seed from that book, and then as adults, us saying yes and encouraging, kids to explore and to poke and to challenge. And that's always, a little bit risky, but here you had kids that embraced it and ran with it, and, great outcome. And the really cool thing is this will reverberate, and 7th grade at that developmental stage, look out, what an exciting thing. So, and as a mother of 3 teenagers, what's on the lunch menu is a big deal. Maybe only outweighed by recess time and how long that is and whether the weather's good or not. So, very exciting work, and congratulations, and extend that to all your students and everybody who fought for this change. It's great.
Thank you.
Absolutely, congratulations. Thank you for what you do. That service is tremendous for everybody who is part of the school system, especially the public school system, is quite incredible. So thank you. And what's amazing is that confidence that you give those kids, that they went through the process, but they actually won at the process.
Yes.
And they can grasp that and go on with life forever if they keep remembering that and keep repeating that. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion this resolution
Hang
be
on.
adopted by
Anybody?
after the public hearing.
Second.
For the democratic process, we have to open this up to the public. Anybody wishing to speak in favor, please come to the podium. Seeing none, anyone daring to wish to speak against, please come to the podium. Seeing none, now we have a motion.
And a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passed. All right. At this time, there are no reports from the city offices. The mayor's office is represented by Suzanne Fritzberg. Thank you for coming, Suzanne. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to rise and join the committee of the whole.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
The Committee of the Whole is now in session. This is the portion of the council meeting where the full council meets as a committee. During each ordinance, the public will have an opportunity to speak either in favor or against a ordinance or resolution. Just an ordinance. And your time will be limited to 5 minutes each for those comments. With that, would the city clerk please read 917?
917, public hearing on an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance for property located at 1237 and 1303 Ironwood Drive, Councilmanic District Number 4 in the city of South Bend, Indiana.
Thank you. Is there a committee report?
Yes, the Zoning Annexation Committee met this afternoon, and we bring this bill to you tonight with no recommendation.
Is there a presenter, please?
Sure. Good afternoon or good evening. Angela Smith from the Area Planning Commission with offices on the 11th floor of this building. The petitioner is seeking to rezone the property highlighted here in red from SF1 single family to SF2 single family district within the city of South Bend. To the north is a recently rezoned property that was rezoned to OB office buffer for an insurance office. On all three other sides are single family homes zoned SF1 single family and 2 family within the city. The site currently has a church on the property, and the site also encompasses a single-family home on a lot to the north. You can see the church here. This is an image from Ironwood Road.
Angela, would you move the microphone a little closer to you? Thank you.
There we go. And then this is the image that encompasses the single-family home to the north of the church here in this property. And then the view from Rosemary, you can see the church there in the distance in the photograph.
The proposed site plan includes 22 single-family residential subdivision lots. The development that's shown here is a basic footprint of the potential home layout, which would be about 1,800 square feet. They're utilizing a zero lot line on one side with a minimum of 10 feet between building in order to maximize the side yard between the houses. The proposed development would be about 1.5-story homes, single-family homes through this, each having a 2-car attached garage. This comes to you from the Area Plan Commission with a favorable recommendation, subject to a written commitment that the properties along Ironwood and Rosemary have a front door that interacts with the street. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
With that, we'll hear from the petitioner. Please state your name and address.
Mr. President, members of council, my name is Stephen Studer. I'm an attorney with offices at 4101 Edison Lake Parkway, Mishawaka, Indiana, 46544. With me this evening is Mike Dan Harner Associates, and also this evening are the owners and developers, Mr. Tom Trade and Mr. Pat Matthews, both of whom were raised in South Bend, attended local schools here, and together they have developed a number of high-quality projects in excess of $200 million dedicated to this community. I'd like to beg the council's indulgence of Ms. Love. When President Scott asked me if anybody wanted to comment on Ms. Love, my feet weren't quick enough to get up and say anything in favor, but I would be remiss because this Friday my wife is retiring after 37 years as a public school teacher, and the last 8 of which have been in a Title I free-line school, public school. So I know how many difficulties public schools face, and so I just want to add my congratulations to Ms. Love.
Thank you.
We come here this evening seeking a rezoning of a 3-acre lot from SF1 to SF2. The lot is currently vacant, and the church on it has moved and it will be demolished in due time. Each of you have been presented a little booklet, and I would ask that you look to the key facts. I'd like to discuss some of those things. You know, a lot of times when developers have a project, even if they fully believe in the project, they move forward without dealing with and consulting with the neighborhood. In this particular case, we've had 2 large-scale community meetings, and very candidly, and my clients would agree with this, we have a better project. Both parties have compromised significantly. We think it's a better project because when we started out, we were looking at 39 townhomes. And if you want to look at what that would look like, if you look to the site plan, the first site plan shows 39 townhomes. This looks pretty crowded, and after meeting with the residents, we agreed. We reduced 39 townhomes to 22 single-family homes. A significant reduction, obviously. We also increased the open space by 55%, going from 29% to nearly half, to 45% of the property will now be open space. Also, after the second meeting, and after the Area Plan Commission, which met and gave us a very favorable recommendation, one of the commitments we agreed to was to change the streetscape facing Ironwood and Rosemary. And at the very last page shows what they will now look. In your booklet, there's an elevation which would demonstrate what those homes look like now from the street. As I mentioned, we had a favorable staff recommendation, a favorable Area Plan Commission recommendation. The staff noted that this project is consistent with the city plan. One of the things it does, it ensures that well-designed infill housing. I've included a little highlight here from the National League of Cities, the Sustainable Cities Institute, which demonstrates that municipalities are encouraging the practice of infill as more efficient to use existing infrastructure and services than to extend infrastructure and services farther afield. If you read the editorial this morning in the South Bend Tribune, they specifically mentioned the 1,000 lots and the 1,000 vacant lots from 1,000 homes to 1,000 vacant lots. And they also specifically mentioned the fact that infill was a great opportunity. This is exactly what we're doing in this project. We have a vacant lot of 3.3 acres. We're going to add 22 single-family homes, which we think is consistent with the neighborhood, as does the staff. I would point out that some of the demonstrators at the Area Plan Commission suggested we put commercial property here. We do not think commercial property fits within this neighborhood. There's already a Walgreens on the corner, there's an insurance office, OB, and we think that this lot should be consistent with the neighborhood, which is single-family homes. The staff found that both desirable use for the land is one that's compatible with the single-family neighborhood. Clearly, 22 single-family homes is the most compatible use. with an existing single-family neighborhood. It also would conserve property values. There was concern at the area planning commission that perhaps because these homes are going to be priced in the neighborhood of $300,000, depending on how they're outfitted, that would impact the rest of the neighborhood where the home may not be at a fair market value at that level. The assessor's office indicated that that's not the case. They would look at this project separately and apart from the rest of the neighborhood, so there's no impact on the neighborhood from having a higher end house here. It does, however, we think, stabilize the neighborhood in terms of value. It will be on city water and city sewer. There were concerns raised in some of the public meetings that the sewers could not handle this, but those concerns are off of Rosemary. In fact, we're going to go off Ironwood. Traffic was also raised as a concern at the area planning commission, and per MACOG, there are almost 14,700 vehicles per day that use Ironwood. We're building 22 homes, so with two-car garages, which is about 40, 45 people in terms of vehicles. So it's less than a third of 1% impact on traffic. SF2, by the way, is very similar to what we have in the Triangle. The Triangle was developed as a PUD, which we no longer utilize for this purpose, but all the surrounding neighborhood of the Triangle are also SF2. So this project is very similar and compatible to what we see at the Triangle development. We've also agreed, after listening to the neighbors, that they would like sidewalks added, and we are going to build a sidewalk all the way to Oak Park Street on Rosemary. The other thing we pointed out is that we are going to have a homeowners association, and this homeowners association is going to maintain the property consistently because they'll all be members of the homeowners association. It is a private street, which means that rather than using city funds to plow those streets, the homeowners association will plow those streets and those driveways. But this will open to the public, but they'll be maintained by the homeowners association. We've also planned on joining the Neighborhood Resources Connection, which is a group of other neighborhood associations, so we're going to join that as well. We're going to be a good neighbor. This is going to be a good project, and we are going to be good neighbors. There were some additional concerns raised with respect to construction. And as we pointed out, that the infrastructure construction, that is the laying of the streets and the bringing the sewer and water to the various lots, will all be done at one time. It won't be over a period of 2, 3, 4, or 5 years. Now, individual lots may be developed over time, but the majority of all the construction is going to be done in the first 90 days. There's also a concern that, well, they asked if we could have the construction traffic not enter on and off of Rosemary, and we agreed to that. We would have the construction traffic enter on and off of Ironwood. There are city ordinances, as you know, that we have to comply with in terms of the time of the day that we can construct, et cetera. So those are already in place. The last thing I would point out was the fact that there was some concern that this would be student housing. And I've done a lot of development over the years within the community, and we always hear these homes are all going to be student housing. First of all, there's only about 1,100 students, undergraduates that live off campus for the whole university, so there's not that many places. But more importantly, the city already has in place, this council has passed an ordinance, and you can't have more than 2 unrelated parties living in a home. So there's already a mechanism, a built-in ordinance that prevents student housing from occurring, not only in this particular project, but throughout the entire neighborhood and throughout the entire city. So we know student housing can be a problem, but we know that the city has already adopted a mechanism to deal with that. People are not going to be buying single-family homes. And I would tell you, when we first looked at this project, we were talking 2-story homes with balconies. And the neighbors said, well, that just reeks of student housing, parties and balconies, and plus they'd be looking off into the neighbors' yards. We scrapped that idea in favor of these patio homes. And so we did listen to the neighbors. We worked very hard to do something that we think is good for the city and good for the neighborhood. I always point out that not everybody gets everything they want. And the developers made significant compromises in order to bring the project, I think, is a first-rate, high-quality project in the city and helps the city's tax base, but it involves bringing 22 more single-family homes within the city of South Bend. And we would certainly be happy to answer any questions you may have. Otherwise, we would ask for your favorable vote tonight in approving this rezoning.
With that, are there any questions for presenter or petitioner? Seeing none, we'll move to the public portion.
Thank you.
Anyone from the public wishing to speak in favor? Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Please come to the podium, and all three of you can come up to the podium and form a line if you'd like, and please state your name and address.
Yes, my name is Don Dumich. I live at 2015 Peach Street. I home right there, the third one from the left. So it's been presented to us that this will not adversely affect the neighborhood. I don't think that's true. My home, I purchased it. The price I paid and my decision to purchase it had a lot to do with the environment around me and the zoning that existed at the time. Right now I've got trees and grass, and it's going to be replaced with a fence and 22 homes. That has to adversely affect the value of my home. With that being said, I did send an email to the common council, and I'd like to read it if possible. I know a few of you have read it already, and I think some people would like to hear it. And it's something that I discovered, and I brought it up at the Planning Commission last week. In fact, Mr. Davis recognized it. But let me just read it to you very quick. I'll stay within my 5 minutes. At Monday's evening council meeting, you will be asked to approve a rezoning petition for a housing development that will negatively impact the character of our neighborhood and the value of our homes. This is Bill such and such. If you look at the preliminary site plan of this proposed development, which is on the screen right now, you will see a sampling of some of the existing homes and the lot sizes in our large, quiet, and friendly neighborhood. And you're only seeing a portion of them. We have a picture of the entire neighborhood. And you see that this lot size and size of these homes extends for blocks and blocks, and this is within these residential areas of our neighborhood. You'll also see that the development of these patio homes will place 22 units on a small 3-acre plot of land, which is now mainly grass and mature trees in the middle of our community. This development will have no street parking and will be surrounded by a 6-foot-high fence. The neighbors have been told that this development will blend nicely into our neighborhood and not negatively impact our home values, nor will it create any problems. The development matches the definition of the term spot zoning, which in most cases is illegal. In the case of Lancaster Development Limited versus the Village of River Forest in 1967, the court stated, for a decision to, quote, constitute spot zoning, 2 requisites must coexist. First, the change of the zone applicable to the small area, and second, a change which is out of harmony with comprehensive planning for the good of that community. This development is in no way in harmony with existing homes, and it would provide special benefit to the developer at the expense of those of us who have made this neighborhood what it is today. And I ask please reject this petition and the 3 variances requested as well. We believe that maintaining the current zoning is the only way to protect the character of our community. Now that's the legal argument. I'd like to make a personal plea as well. Mr. Studer was quoted in the South Bend Tribune from something he said at the Planning Commission, the meeting that we had last week. Quote, no one likes change, we understand that. I don't think he does. We as a neighborhood are not opposed to change for the right reason. This neighborhood has seen many changes. More houses have been developed, houses have had additions. The church itself, which they're going to tear down, was a great addition to the neighborhood. It was consistent with enhancing the neighborhood. You know, it seems a little weird that when your argument to build this development is, well, it could be worse. We wanted 39 homes, could be a strip mall. I don't think either of those had any chance of passing. So now we're picking like the lesser of evils, as opposed to promoting, you know, something we're going to enhance your neighborhood. It's like it could be worse. That's not a selling point. I don't think it's a choice we should have to make. There's all sorts of vacant land. There's 1,000 homes being demolished and vacated land. You've got a gem of a neighborhood. It's something that should be a model for much of South Bend. And this is being proposed, and I appreciate the effort. I'm sure they'd be very nice homes, but it doesn't enhance the neighborhood. It doesn't offer any advantages to anyone except the people developing it. And we complain about traffic, and we're told, well, there's 14,000 cars on Ironwood. Well, where's Ironwood? It's on the edge. You know, our children don't play on Ironwood. Our people that go for walks and walk their dogs don't walk on Ironwood. We're worried about Peachtree and Rosemary. And you're putting 44 cars, multiple trips per day, services, delivery people, that's a lot of traffic that doesn't exist today. Ironwood I could care less about. What I'm worried about is Peachtree, that I live on, and all the surrounding areas.
So
We
you
asked
have
about
20 seconds.
Okay. We asked about parking, they talked about driveways. Any overflow parking is gonna come out into our neighborhood. So I'm basically saying 22 patio homes on 3 acres selling for $300,000 surrounded by a fence is not a positive change. We're not opposed to change. We're just opposed to what this is. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jim Galvez. I live at 2101 Peachtree Lane, right over here. I'm in the midst of all of this. As you can see, they're going to put this fence across like they say. I thought if they're going to do it, a mound, not a fence.
Please speak into the microphone.
Oh, okay. Not a mound, not a fence, but like a mound in there. Another thing I keep asking about the sewage in there, if the capacity coming out of there on Ironwood will be able to take that. You know, have you had any figures on the sewers and everything? Another thing, the electrical. Right along this whole area right here, the power goes from this end all the way over. You can see all of our yards. We have a fence on either side. AEP has got to get in there sometime if we have a power failure. We don't get no answers on that. And like I said, I still think they're going to sell it to the moms and the dads, and then the kids are going to come in there and party. And that's what I'm against. It's been a quiet, wonderful neighborhood. I've lived there since 2003, 14 years. Very nice neighborhood. And then when I come out here on Peachtree to Ironwood, even right now, traffic. There's maybe 10, 12 cars one way, then you look, they're coming the other way. What's it going to be like when they're coming out of this unit over here? You're going to have accidents right over probably by the lead area going in and on Rosemary also. Are they going to put stoplights up over there? I don't think they can because there's one right on the corner of Ironwood and Edison. So it's quite congested over there even right now. And I can see why the people on Rosemary are upset. And when they talked earlier about doing a sewer out that way, there's a lift station down Rosemary, almost close to Edison. Not Rosemary, yeah, on Rosemary, close to Edison. It's like a green cylindrical thing, and I see them come every once in a while and pump that out. And then they also mentioned about putting a French well in. Well, that's one of them cylindrical with all the holes in it, and they put rock in there. The house right off the edge of the driveway of the church up there, I see has got still a well. And when I talked to the lady one time, she said, well, I don't drink the water no more. I buy bottled water. I don't use my well water. But I said, you shower, don't you, with it? Well, yeah. I said, if somebody in that area, once they move in there, would happen to have an antifreeze leak in their car, and it rained real heavy, it's going to go down into that well. Well, they say, oh, that's not going to affect it. Yes, it is. They'll go down into their aquifer, and that well will be pumping that antifreeze that's in there up into their home. So these are some things that I'm concerned about, okay? Thank you very much.
Good evening, my name is Carrie Mason. Yes, if you're a girl named Carrie, you shouldn't marry a guy named Mason. Apparently I play a lawyer on TV. But, thank you so much for letting us talk tonight with the community. As you can tell, you're
Please
very...
state your address. Sorry.
Better?
Your address.
Oh, please state your address.
Oh, my address, I'm sorry. 1836 Peachtree Lane. I'm right down the street on the other side of Peachtree. So as you can tell, we are very passionate about our little community. I have moved many times in my life, 25 to be exact. Part of that's military. I have never been in a community like this. It is fabulous. You can walk your dog, you can meet people, neighbors look out for each other. It is an incredible little neighborhood. They got nice sidewalks. I mean, everybody is friendly. It's awesome. I'm sure there's other neighborhoods like that, but I'm willing to bet that they're in a decline because of developments, and it's sad. But we all know there's got to be growth, but there's a cost for growth that is not all dollars and cents. And if we don't manage that growth, that cost is going to be greater than we expected. You go into a well-established, happy, long-standing community and create developments like this one, that's not in keeping with design in the current neighborhood, is that an okay thing to do? No, it's not. It's not keeping in with the design. You can see the different lot sizes right there in the screen. I mean, it's pretty evident that our development is bigger, has more room, better for kids. If they want to do this, is this the best spot for this development, for these 22 houses, or is this just a profit-making situation because there was a piece of land that was for sale for an inexpensive price? All that said, there is a chance that you guys are going to approve this development tonight. We hope that you don't, of course, because we understand from the city, it does the city well. You have property taxes increases, you have permit fee increases, your inspectors get more work, keeping your people employed, which is a good thing, and of course the developers make money. But the community that's impacted, us, there's nothing. We have no upside. So part of the reason I'm here tonight is to ask the council for some concessions. To be a community impact settlement of sorts. The first off, of course, is please don't approve this development, but if you do, let's consider possibly with some changes. We do need to address traffic. We do need to address sewer. And yes, like it was stated by the other gentleman as well, there's 14,000 cars on Ironwood, but we live on Rosemary. Our children play on Rosemary. We walk our dogs on Rosemary. And you add all of those cars from that development, that's close to a 25% increase. That's a lot for one little neighborhood. They say that they are marketing to 55 and over or senior citizens. Fine, let's make it a 55 and over community. I know they've already disagreed, but I still need to state it. 55 and over communities are a good thing. People that are interested in those type of communities are happier because there's no students, there's no noise. They can live in a nice, quiet neighborhood and be happy there. I'm very familiar with them because my mother is one of the ones that created the laws that are on the books today for 55 and over communities. Long story, different story. Second, their experts say that our property values are likely to go up. I and a few others don't necessarily agree, but if they do, yes, in the long term, that's probably a good thing. But in the short term, our property taxes and our assessments are probably going to go up. So that's not a good thing. We would like to ask the council for a cap on our property taxes and the assessments for the residents of the 98 houses here, Cocoa neighborhood and Oak Park and Hartman.
You have 1 minute.
Pardon?
You have 1 minute.
Okay. So we would like to ask that cap for 8 to 10 years. Traffic was addressed. We have the parking issue. They're providing 0 on-street parking in their neighborhood, so they're going to park in our neighborhood. I mean, everybody needs to park. They need to put parking in their development as well. There's an overburden on infrastructure, as we've talked about. We want to preserve the character of our neighborhood. That does not. It does not fit in with our neighborhood. We want to provide trees. We want to provide green space. We want to provide air. We want to provide room for our children to play. So thank you for listening to this. I appreciate it.
Seeing no one else, the public portion is closed. Sir, no applause. Apologize. The petitioner has a 5-minute opportunity for rebuttal.
Thank you. Let me just try to address the specific issues that were raised. One, spot zoning. This was raised at the Area Planning Commission, and Mr. Magliozzi pointed out specifically this is not spot zoning. In fact, one of the criteria is to be out of harmony. For instance, we were going to put in a two-parlor here. That would be spot zoning. That would be out of harmony with the neighborhood. We're putting in single-family homes. And in fact, it's consistent with the city plan. It's consistent with the South Bend Comprehensive Plan objectives. So it doesn't meet the definition of spot zoning. Mr. Magliozzi had conferred and agreed with that. This is really a buffer project between office business and the rest of the neighborhood. I'm a little bit confused by it. We're not arguing this could be worse. What we argue is this is a better project because we engage with the community. If we not engage with the community, we would be accused of being intransient and not willing to talk and not willing to compromise. So we do compromise, we do engage, and not only in two rather widely attended public meetings, and now we're criticized for doing that and making changes. Well, I would hope we never change that process. I hope that that you would want us to develop and engage with the community to find a project that works for everybody. 44 cases, 44 cars, they're not all leaving at the same time at 8 o'clock in the morning, at 7 o'clock at night. There's 44 single-family homes here. They're going to be leaving periodically during the day, so we don't think traffic is an issue. It's certainly not an issue in Ironwood, and even on Rosemary, where these other people drive as well. There's 98 homes. We're adding 22. They're not leaving at the same time. So we don't think traffic is an issue. The sewer capacity, we've already addressed that. First of all, we have to deal with the city of South Bend and the engineering department. They've already told us we're going to go to Ironwood. The capacity is there. We're not going to go down Rosemary where they've had other issues in the past, and I think the city's looking into that. We have to get approval from the city's engineering department and others in order to build this project. I&M line, all those things we're taking care of. You better than anybody understand the process starts with rezoning. If we don't have rezoning, we still have to go through a lot of processes to get approval from city engineering and other things. So we did increase green space to 45% of the project. So again, I think those are specific that I want to address. Those are the ones that I think that were addressable by me. If there's any other questions, I'm happy to address those as well.
Thank you so much. With that, we'll turn to the council for comments. We can go down the line. Any comments?
I just want to say this is the type of conversation or the type of issue that always concerns me, because I just have a real sense of it's important that as we're making decisions that business plans and development doesn't always take precedence over what longstanding neighbors' interests are. That being said, I do want to say that I appreciate the efforts that you made in reworking the plan. I think that's really important, and we're seeing more developers go down that route. I would be curious, I'm not sure the process. Someone made mention of, are there things that the council can do to like attach to it? Like, I think one of the things they were saying, property tax caps and things like that. That would be a separate, we couldn't, that's not under consideration. That's nothing we could do. That would be something, no, not in that. But so, yeah. So I want to say that I do believe that it's of the utmost importance to make sure that we are working with the community, working with neighbors, and that sounds like there's been at least some effort to do that tonight by the developers. Thank you.
So just a couple questions. No on-street parking. So what is the garage? I think it's 2. And what is the driveway capacity? If somebody could answer that, please, because that's come up from several people.
I'd like to answer Dan Charman's list at 1643 Commerce Street up here in South Bend. The capacity in the driveway is 2 cars. We did that deliberately to allow for any visitors that would come to this particular site. So the driveways are wide enough to have 2 cars in the driveway, and then you'd have 2 cars in the garage. So you'd have 4-car capacity for each of the single-family home sites.
So just out of curiosity, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. You have to make a comment. You okay?
Okay, great. So just out of curiosity, in another single-family neighborhood with a 2-car garage and maybe a larger driveway might handle a couple more, perhaps. On-street parking is what's left over when the other space isn't used.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, the standard setback for a house in the city of South Bend is 25 feet.
Yeah. Okay.
So basically, you can put your house at 25 feet. Which would give you the same capacity that we're doing for this particular development. That gives you just enough room to basically park a car in the driveway in front of the house.
I'll just say thank you for everybody for coming out tonight and sharing your thoughts. I do want to show my appreciation to the developer for really reworking their plan and taking a lot of units out and making it more consistent with a single-family neighborhood.
Being on area plan, I've listened to this for several hours last week and this week. I personally feel that there is needs to be almost one more meeting. You all have come, in my personal opinion, from way over here to way here. And I feel what may or may not happen, but I feel there's a gap that's there. I have concerns when the developer says that we don't feel that there's a traffic concern, when they do. Okay? I don't like that. I think you need to acknowledge the concerns that they have, and then say, okay, where are we? Because just to say we don't say that we're going to Ironwood like we talked about last week, their concern was not Ironwood, their concerns were here. I feel that we have to hear that, because I mean, politically or whatever you may not have to do with it, people have to live after this development's over. And I have a concern that that part of it was not addressed. The Ironwood was say, well, we have so many thousands of drivers. This part, there was not a plan there. I have concerns with the street. I have concerns that I don't like it when people say we can't park on streets, especially in that area over there where we have, because then it's going to force guests. When I have people over the houses, more than just 3 or 4 people, it's going to start having people's company coming on the other sides of foot. This is going to happen. And I think that has to have some kind of plan in place to deal with that. And I think that was kind of not really watered down enough to help people feel concerns. You did water down a lot of other things, and I was happy about that. But the amount of people that were here at area plan and the amount of time it took for us to deal with that, it showed me that when that amount of people come to a meeting and all these concerns, that we're probably one meeting away from getting something done. Yeah, we can pass it tonight and it can pass on, but it leaves a little interesting taste in their mouth that I think some of that can be solved by working through some of that. That's my concern tonight, and that was my concern. Then it was just not all the way complete. And so that's where I feel tonight, and where I am.
I consider this my neighborhood. I live on Dorwood, not more than 2 blocks at best from this. I appreciate that the developers have modified their plan from the original proposal, which quite frankly, as somebody stated, would have been DOA. However, I think that this will have an impact on the character of the neighborhood, because all these things that have been said about the neighborhood are true. It's a neighborhood that if you like privacy and if you don't like what your neighbor to know what you're doing, you oughtn't to live here, because with everybody walking their dogs and talking to one another, I like it because it's like a built-in neighborhood watch program without having an official one. A good thing that's come from this is that the neighbors have organized into the Rosemary Ironwood Neighborhood Association, and going down the road, that'll be a good thing to address a lot of issues. I wonder, is this area going to be, if this is to happen, will these single-family units be eligible for residential tax abatement? If I don't think they ought to be, the homes that were built in the Commons area there, adjacent to the townhomes at Georgiana, Dewey, those streets there, the council at the time, I don't know exactly what the process was, but they made them ineligible for tax abatement. I guess overall, I would, if there was a sentiment to delay this until the June 12th meeting, I would support that in hopes that something better would come of it. But right now I'm inclined not to support it. I'm inclined to stand with the people in the neighborhood. That's all.
If you squared off that property where the one house is, and you built a mirror to what the other houses are there on Peachtree, within that squared off area, there'd be 18 homes, 9 on each side. kind of in that lot configuration. I do have problems with no off-street parking. Yeah, you got 2, maybe 4 cars there. Not going to have a lot of college parties unless it's all spilled over somewhere else. There, I mean, it's definitely doable for older, and I'm getting in that group, kind of people that are going to be there. But you know, the other concern I have is right now it is considered a private street that what is it someday could convert back to a street that the city would have to maintain, and then you have that issues with trash pickup and you probably have it now. Yeah, I got a lot of questions still. I kind of defer to John on maybe a continuation here. The other thing is, the big thing to me is that off-street parking within that. I agree that infill development, that's all what we're looking for, definitely. So I'm kind of torn between this. There's one other thing in my head and I can't think of it. Oh, John, you mentioned there's a neighborhood association with that, but this little group would have their own neighborhood association. But why would they be part of the entire neighborhood association? You know, that's there. They possibly could, but you know, it's almost kind of excluding them from the rest of the neighborhood in the spirit of the city of South Bend. I think individuals are individuals. They would garner on and be good neighbors to everybody else around there, but I certainly have concerns.
Okay, I would like to say that recently we had a similar situation on the corner of Torkingham, and the developer worked very hard to really meet with the various community residents and to work on a plan that was acceptable. Again, I appreciate all the work that the developer has done, major gains. I do support the project, but I think that if we can reach a better plan, and I think the developer has said that you have really worked at the plan that you have now, is one that has really, you had 2 meetings, a number of individuals were present, but listening to my fellow council members, I would support continuing this discussion to see if we can even come up with a better plan to meet the needs of the citizens as well as the developer.
I would agree with that one. There is nobody from the concern that I have, and that's why I don't mind a delay, is because with all due respect, there was nobody from the neighborhoods or around there who lived there who even stood up in favor. And I like to hear, when we make the decision, I like to hear somebody from that neighborhood outside of the developers to share some positive things in it. So those are the kind of things that I was looking for too.
I'd like to ask one question of council members who were on the council when the Commons was established. How did you go about, did you just say that residential abatement wasn't available? I don't recall. I was clerk at the time.
What it was, when 80th Street Commons was developed, the city, at their expense, placed all of the infrastructure, the streets, the sewers, the sidewalks. I think it even built the alleys as part of the development. And at that time, members of the council thought if the city's, okay, this is the city's contribution, we shouldn't be contributing more in the form of tax abatement. And subsequently, 1 or 2 people have come forward. So we made it part of the agreement that there would be no abatements. A couple people have come forward and requested it, and I believe the council's held and not. And with that, subsequent to that explanation, so they understood it wasn't arbitrary. That was, in this case, I guess the developer is putting in the infrastructure. I would assume, but I don't know.
There was another development, I can't recall, I think it was in the 1st district, that the developer actually came. It was in their plan that there would be no tax abatement.
Okay. With that, the floor is open for a motion.
Motion to delay until the, what's that, the 12th? June?
Yes.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Nay.
Roll call.
The motion carries.
We need,
There's only one.
oh,
I would like to add to what, Councilmember Furley, what are we expecting to see happen now into the next 2 weeks? So that the developer and
Spell it out.
the neighbors would actually know what our expectations are. I know one deals with the traffic, Councilmember Davis, you had made mention of that.
Sounds like parking.
Parking.
That's a big question.
Okay. And-
Well,
John, you want to lead?
I'm sorry, can I?
Sure.
As a neighbor and as a councilman that represents this, as well as a district councilman, I think that if there is a delay, that my expectation would be that any council member who's interested and the newly formed neighborhood organization and the developer would sit down and see if there's any possible room for compromise. All of these things could be, could be talked about. Hopefully something would come of it. If nothing comes of it, then it's resolved in 2 weeks anyway.
Okay.
I'm open with that.
City Clerk, would you please read 2217?
2217, public hearing on an ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance for property located at the northeast-west corner of Ireland Road and Lafayette Boulevard.
We weren't really finishing that up.
Yeah.
Is it continued?
The recommendation for the council to
No.
continue.
Based on what Councilwoman White was saying.
The expectations,
The
make sure
expectations,
that all
he
the
was just sharing that,
expectations.
and so John just shared his, and we hadn't really commented on that, and then we ran to the other, that's all I'm saying. I mean, I agree with what he was saying, but then, where are we with what he just said?
I think that's the expectation.
Do you do the summary of expectations in the third reading when you continue?
Pardon me?
No.
Okay.
No, we won't even mention the third reading.
Okay.
We'll get a list to the developer.
And then they can, I'm just saying how they communicate with us.
Right.
So they, because I'm sure the gentleman, he had our emails we read today, so we can kind of coordinate all of that, so we can have some meeting in between now and that time.
City
That's all I
Clerk,
wanted to make sure.
thank you. Please read 2217.
2217, public hearing on an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance for property located at the northeast corner of Ireland Road and Lafayette Boulevard, Councilmanic District Number 5 in the city of South Bend, Indiana.
Is there a committee report?
Yes, the zoning annexation met today. On this one, we bring a favorable recommendation.
Is there a presenter?
David Stanton, Area Planning Commission, 11th floor of this building. The petitioner is requesting a zone change from SF2 Single Family and 2 Family District to CB Community Business District and seeking 2 variances from the development standards. To the east, south, and west along Main, Ireland, and Lafayette are all are zoned CB, Community Business District. This is a view of the property looking northwest. Both properties are vacant lots. To the left would be a bank building, and then to the right is going to be left for future development. This is another view of the property, just looking north from Ireland Road. The 3.2 acre site is proposed to be divided into 2 development sites. Parcel A is 1.66 acres. The proposed plan for this site includes a 7,616 square foot bank with 3 drive-through lanes. The preliminary site plan meets the requirements for all landscaping per the ordinance. Parcel B is 1.52 acres. This site is reserved for future development with no specific site plan submitted at this time. That site will need to meet all the development standards for the CB Community Business District. The site is part of the vacated single-family residential area that remains after the realignment of Main and Lafayette. This comes to you from the Area Plan Commission with a favorable recommendation. Rezoning the site to CB Community Business District will allow for the expansion of an existing commercial district established in a commercial node located adjacent to the intersection of Michigan State Route 31 and Ireland Road. We'll entertain any questions.
Is the petitioner present? Please state your name and address.
Mike Dan from Dan Charter Associates, 1643 Commerce Drive here in South Bend, representing the commissioners. As was mentioned by the Area Planning Commission staff and also at the committee meeting, United Credit Federal Union would like to go on that west portion of the property. This is one of the last pieces on Ireland Road that's still zoned residential. From a planning standpoint, what we're going to do is take all the Gates property, as you see here, basically parcels A and parcels B, and ask them to be rezoned to the community businesses or to allow for retail development, and in this particular case, a financial institution. Access is going to be off of Ireland Road and also off of Lafayette Street. The way this is being developed, there will be a common driveway between the two properties, so any future development that occurs on the east piece of the property will be allowed to access to the west property, so that takes the traffic situation off of those Ireland Road and Lafayette. So there'll be what we call an ingress and egress easement between the two properties. As the staff had mentioned, we're meeting all the landscape requirements. It'll meet all the drainage requirements for the city of South Bend. We would ask for a favorable approval.
Thank you. Are there any questions from council for presenter or petitioner? Seeing none at this time, we'll move to the public portion. Anyone from the public wishing to speak in favor? Anyone from the public wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing no one, the public portion is closed. Back to the council. What's your pleasure?
Move for a favorable recommendation.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. City, or could I? No. City Clerk, would you please read 2617?
2617, public hearing on an ordinance to amend, correct, and replace ordinance number 10431-16 to vacate the following described property: the first north-south alley east of Cushing Street from Lincoln Way West to the first southeast west alley for a distance of 193 feet and a width of 14 feet. Said alley being part of Heiselman's Addition and Kunzman's Addition, City of South Bend, Portage Township, St. Joseph County, Indiana.
Thank you. Is there a presenter?
Yes, thank you. Aladine Rose. I'm here in my capacity as interim attorney to the...
I'm sorry, Aladine. Is there a committee report?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, there is a committee report. The committee looked at this and recommended favorably to council.
Thank you.
Thank you. Aladine DeRose, in my capacity as interim attorney to the common council, and on behalf of the city clerk, this is an ordinance to correct an ordinance that was passed on April 11, 2016, ordinance number 10431-16, in which an alley was vacated in the area of Cushing and Lincoln Way West for purposes of development. In that area, there are two alleyways, one on the east and one on the west. The alley that was vacated by the original ordinance was the east alley. The intended correct ordinance, or the intended correct alley to be vacated is the east ordinance, and this Bill 2617 makes that correction.
Thank you. Are there any questions from council? Seeing none, we'll move to the public portion. Anyone from the public wishing to speak in favor? Anyone from the public wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, back to the council. What's your pleasure?
Move for a favorable recommendation.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? The motion carries. Could I entertain a motion to hear 2817, 2917, 3017, and 3117 together just for purposes of public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. City Clerk, would you...
Well, I was going to say the Public Works and Property. I'm
You're
early.
ahead of me this time.
That eats it all out.
City Clerk, would you please read 2817, 2917, 3017, and 3117, please?
Sure thing. 2817. Public hearing on an ordinance to vacate the following described property: north-south alley of St. Vincent Street, east of Eddy Street, including two east-west alleys north of Howard Street, south of St. Vincent, and non-vacated right-of-way west of 23 at south end of former Georgiana Street. 2917, public hearing on an ordinance to vacate the following described property: northwest corner of Howard Street and Eddy Street, including access right-of-ways from former Howard Street alignment. 3017, public hearing on an ordinance to vacate the following described property: eastern 170 feet plus east-west alley west of Eddy Street between St. Vincent Street and Howard Street. 3117, public hearing on an ordinance to vacate the following described property: north-south alley making up former Eddy Street, south of Howard Street, and north of Corby Boulevard, including all right-of-ways to South Bend Avenue and former South Bend Avenue.
Thank you. Is there a committee report? Yeah.
Yes, Public Works and Property Vacation Committee met on combined hearing for these 4 ordinances and gave all of them a favorable recommendation.
Is there a representative? Please state your name and address.
Good evening, Tony Halsey with Kite Realty Group, address 30 South Gordon Street, Indianapolis, Indiana. Kite is here as the developer for Eddy Street Commons Phase 2. The property owner, of course, is Notre Dame. Would be here tonight is Barry Hoffman with Notre Dame. I think everyone is familiar with Eddy Street Commons. The request tonight is to allow for vacation of several public alleyways and former rights of way to allow for the second phase of Eddy Street Commons. Just to give a brief overview, Eddy Street. Here's the first phase of Eddy Street off to the right.
Thank you.
Napoleon, running east and west, or I'm sorry, from west to east. There would be a small retail node at the southwest corner of Napoleon and Eddy, 8,400 square feet of retail. Followed on the northern blocks on each side of Eddy, the first floors. These units would be flex space, contemplated to be like a live work retail type of situation. The upper 3 floors on each of the northern blocks would be straight residential apartments. So these are 4-story buildings. Moving south, 3-story residential apartments. And then lastly, the Robinson Center as part of the second phase of this project will be relocated from their current location south of Howard over to north of Howard, fronting Howard Street, and approximately doubling in size. These ordinances were heard at the February 14th Board of Public Works meeting. We received a favorable recommendation, obviously a favorable recommendation earlier today. The ordinances are as follows. 2817 vacates this blocks D and E, various alleyways, and former Georgiana Street right-of-way. Ordinance 2917 is this little bit of excess right-of-way from Howard Street prior to the realignment. Ordinance 3017 is that alleyway in Block C, and Ordinance 3117 is everything south of Howard Street, former Eddy Street right-of-way, former South Bend Avenue right-of-way. And I'll point out that the zoning that's been approved for Eddy Street Commons Phase 2 covers all blocks A, B, C, D, E, north of Howard Street. Does not include the area covered by 3117, but we're requesting the vacations this time to allow for a future development. So other than that, I'm here to answer any questions.
Any questions from council at this time? Seeing none, we'll move to the public portion. Anyone from the public wishing to speak in favor? Please state your name and address.
My name is Greg Hockenen. I'm the Director of Northeast Neighborhood Redevelopment for the University of Notre Dame, 415 Main Building, Notre Dame, Indiana. I'm just here to confirm what I think you already know. Notre Dame is the landowner connected with most, but not quite all, of these vacations. We have worked closely with Kite Realty Group, who is the developer of Phase 1 of Eddy Street Commons, and they will be the developer of Phase 2. We are well aware of the plan, and we are fully in support of these vacations in support of the new development. Thank you.
My name is Charles Hayes. I'm the managing partner of Five Corners LLC, which owns property in the area. I think basically the vacations that are being proposed are the right thing to do to aid in the development of the neighborhood. I am concerned a little bit about the vacation of Eddy Street south of Corby, and also on the South Bend Avenue north of Corby and south of the intersection. I want to make sure that when the vacation is done, that on the South Bend Avenue site, that we get the other half of the road, that Notre Dame or Kite gets the north half, we get the south half. And I'm also concerned about the utilities relocations that will happen in the future. I know that there's some TIF money and some government money involved in this thing, and I want to make sure that when they do the utility relocation, that it also includes the relocation of utility south of Corby on the old Eddy Street. So there's a utility line, a AT&T line that goes right up the old Eddy Street corridor that has to be relocated. I want to make sure that it gets relocated for our property. We'll be coming before the council here in another couple of weeks with the additional vacation proposals and supplement what these people are doing. Thank you.
Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, the public portion is closed. Back to the council.
Question.
Yep.
Could our attorney explain what, in terms of what that was all about, in terms of the last piece of it? Do we have to do anything particular in
And
order
I'm
to
not
meet Mr. Hayes?
He identified
I know
there
you
are
spoke in
Title
favor.
IV, and I'm not sure which two are affected by what Mr. Hayes said. Perhaps.
Oh, yeah.
Turn it sideways.
Three.
Is it possible to get
The area south of it, he was talking.
I know, I mean, I understand what, I mean,
Charlie, the university basically owns all of this. Charlie owns a strip of land that used to be Dick's service station. Is that correct, Charlie?
Yes.
Isn't Dick's service station used to be here?
Right.
So when the road changed course,
yeah.
what used to be Dick's service station wound up on the north side of the street. So I will speak for the university. Custom is that when rights of way are vacated, it's divided in half and appended to the owners on either side. Right. That was our expectation. That would be consistent with Charlie's expectation.
Exactly.
So this stretch of 23, half of it would go to the university's assemblage and half would go to Charlie's. I think that happens by operation of law. I don't think that requires.
That's just straight up standard.
All right, what about the utilities going down to
Pardon?
Eddy Street?
No, we don't have to add anything to our, my whole question regarding that, do we have to add anything into our language before we vote on anything tonight to accomplish that mission, or is it already, or is it a matter of law?
It's a matter. The ownership is a matter of law.
Pardon
I think the ownership is a matter of law. His question is whether there would be a city subsidy for that portion of the utility
Yeah, that was
line
the
that's
second
being
part to that.
located. And I don't know the answer to that. I don't know that that is a TIF district, and whether the TIF district funds would be used for
Where
that
does the
purpose.
utility run exactly? And what are the issues? Where is it located? Can anybody address that?
Sorry, I mean, when you just made that presentation, I just wanted to say
You just, actually, we should stick to format here. So, Mr. Hayes, only the presenter is able to answer these questions. We appreciate the questions. So during
but I called him up in a sense, because I needed some clarification. That's the only reason why I understand what you're saying, Mr. Chair, there. But the only reason I asked him, because I needed some clarification on that presentation.
Again,
that's why I addressed it to our attorney.
No, I appreciate that. The attorney or the petitioner is able to answer any questions at this time.
To answer Charlie's question, at this time, we're proposing to relocate the dock back, the AT&T back. Well,
that's great.
I'm sorry. As necessary in this area north, probably does not anticipate that we would need to move it a lot. We might move it in this phase, but the expectation right now is to leave it in place until the next phase hits, so that we know where it would be necessary to relocate it. What we would want to do is relocate and put it in an area that would not be beneficial to whatever the footprint of that third phase is like. So we relocate it at the time that the next phase comes.
And again, this request is for simply the street and alley vacation, and I would encourage, if there's two parties working in the future on any sort of utility, that they get together after the meeting and talk that over. Seeing that, we Can entertain a motion or any comments from council?
Just one question, if I may,
Sure. To the presenter or to our attorney?
to the presenter.
Sure.
The 8,400 square foot, approximately retail there on the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could that potentially be another bar?
It potentially could, yeah.
I hate to rule
Maybe
my own
maybe not. Maybe you guys have restrictions on this.
When we did zoning the first time around,
Yes.
what I mean by we is Kite and the university in conjunction with the council, we made a distinction between restaurants that serve liquor and bars.
Okay.
I can define that for you, but if it's immediately obvious the difference, then I won't. So we made the commitment in phase one that we would welcome restaurants that serve liquor, but we would not have bars. Okay. That applies in spades to phase two.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, very well, thank you.
Go ahead. Seeing no other questions, are there separate motions on?
Yes.
Make a motion, send 2817 to the full council favorably.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries.
Make a motion, send 2917 to the full council favorably.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries.
Make a motion, send 3017 to the full council favorably.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries.
Make a motion, send 3117 to the full council favorably.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to rise and resolve from the committee of the whole.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Full council is now back in session. Ms. Fowler, would you please give third reading to 2217?
2217, third reading on an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance for property located at the northeast corner of Ireland Road and Lafayette Boulevard, Councilmanic District Number 5 in the city of South Bend, Indiana.
Motion to approve. Motion to adopt.
Second.
Pass. What do you want to say? Pass.
Second.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Fowler.
I'm doing roll call?
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Okay. Councilmember Preston?
Aye.
Councilmember Kelly? Absent. Councilmember Broughton?
Aye.
Mr. Varner?
Aye.
Vice President Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Vorty?
Aye.
Councilmember Furlick?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
President Scott?
Aye.
8 ayes.
Thank you. 2617, please.
2617, third reading on an ordinance to amend, correct, and replace ordinance number 10431-16 to vacate the following described property: the first north-south alley east of Cushion Street from Lincoln Way West to the first east-west alley for a distance of 193 feet and a width of 14 feet, said alley being a part of Heinzelman Addition and Kuntzman Addition, City of South Bend, Portage Township, St. Joseph County, Indiana.
Motion for passage.
Second.
Ms. Fowler.
Councilmember Broughton.
Aye.
Councilmember Varner.
Aye.
Vice President Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember Vorty.
Aye.
Councilmember Furlick.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember Preston.
Aye.
President Scott.
Aye.
8 ayes.
Thank you. 2817, please.
2817, third reading on an ordinance to vacate the following described property: north-south alley of St. Vincent Street, east of West Eddy, including 2 east-west alleys north of Howard Street, south of St. Vincent, non-vacated right-of-way of the west of 23, south end of former Georgiana Street.
Motion for passage.
Second.
Ms. Fowler.
Councilmember Broughton.
Aye.
Councilmember Varner.
Aye.
Vice President Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember Vorty.
Aye.
Councilmember Furlick.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember Preston.
Aye.
President Scott.
Aye.
8 ayes.
Thank you. 2917, please.
2917, third reading on an ordinance to vacate the following described property, northwest corner of Howard Street and Eddy Street, including access right-of-ways of former Howard Street alignment.
Move for the passage of 2917.
Second.
Ms. Fowler?
Councilmember Varner?
Aye.
Vice President Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Vorty?
Aye.
Councilmember Furlick?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Councilmember Preston?
Aye.
Councilmember Broughton?
Aye.
President Scott?
Aye.
8 ayes.
Thank you. 3017.
3017, third reading on an ordinance to vacate the following described property, eastern 100 plus 70 feet, east-west alley, west of Eddy Street, between St. Vincent Street and Howard Street.
Motion for passage.
Second.
Vice President Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember Vorty.
Aye.
Councilmember Furlick.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember Preston.
Aye.
Councilmember Broughton.
Aye.
Councilmember Varner.
Aye.
President Scott.
Aye.
8 ayes.
3117.
3117, third reading on an ordinance to vacate the following described property, north-south alley making up former Eddy Street, south of Howard Street, and north of Corby Boulevard, including all right-of-way to South Bend Avenue and the former South Bend Avenue.
Motion for passage.
Second.
Ms. Fowler?
Councilmember Vorty.
Aye.
Councilmember Furlick.
Aye.
Councilmember White.
Aye.
Councilmember Preston.
Aye.
Councilmember Broughton.
Aye.
Councilmember Varner. Oh,
Aye.
Vice President Davis.
Aye.
President Scott.
Aye.
8 ayes.
Thank you. Resolution 1725, please.
Resolution 1725, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, supporting the city administration's alternative cost-saving approach to its COS long-term control plan and encouraging the federal and state environmental regulatory agencies to adopt the innovative plan.
Motion to adopt the substitute.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Is there a committee report?
Yes, Mr. President, the Utilities Committee had a public hearing on the resolution as amended and brings to the council with a favorable recommendation.
Great. Presenter?
Yeah, let me invite Eric Orbach, Director of Public Works, to the podium with me.
Your name and addresses.
My name is Dave Varner. I reside at 1306 Clayton Drive, South Bend, Indiana.
Eric Orbach, Public Works Director, 13th floor of this building.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. So it probably comes as no surprise to, well, too many people that we, I guess I would describe perhaps under duress, engaged on an enormous undertaking subject to the Clean Water Act, which resulted in a potential financial liability of the city of South Bend as of about 2013, somewhere approaching $500+ million and growing, as I understand it, from that time. A lot of people recognize that as a concern, while at the same time recognizing the need to do as much as possible, as rationally as possible, to provide as much clean water, provide as clean an environment as we can. So trying to work in that harmony, in 2015, I believe, the city embarked on some re-examination. We hired some consultants, which told us it was a really good plan, but by the way, it was a little bit more expensive than we thought it was going to be. So what we thought was a big problem has morphed into something a bit larger. To that end, and to the credit of the city engineers, their staff, and some folks regarding involved in some of the research with the university and with MNet, have re-examined the plan. They've come up with a way which is perhaps greener, may actually, if analyzed properly, give a better result with regards to the quality of the water receiving, not in a finite number of overflows, but in the actual quality of the water on a continuous basis. So all these things make the plan that the city's brought forward environmentally better, it would seem, certainly economically more favorable with regards to being able to afford it for the city of South Bend and all those folks who found themselves would find themselves with extraordinary burdens regarding to the cost of water and sewer bills. So to that end, we have a resolution from the council, from the city, substitute resolution number 1725. Whereas the city of South Bend has been a leader in seeking ways to maintain a clean and safe St. Joseph River. It was the first Indiana city on the St. Joseph River to construct in 1956 a wastewater treatment plant. Prior to 2011, it had invested over $100 million for environmental protection upgrades and improvements to its sewage systems. And whereas in December 2011, the City of South Bend enacted a 20-year CSO long-term control plan to reduce combined sewer overflows into the St. Joseph River to ensure compliance with the Federal Clean Water Act, which the CSO plan was incorporated into a consent decree filed in the United States District Court for Northern District of Indiana. Whereas the city's original 2011 CSO plan required a massive new investment by the city to reduce down to 4 the number of annual events of CSO excess sewer discharge into the St. Joseph River. The expectation of the remedial cost was approximately $500 million to be paid through a series of sewer rate increases borne by consumers of the city's sewer utility, most of whom are individuals and families, of which about $149 million has been paid since 2011. Whereas today, the estimated cost of the city's $500 million CSO plan of 2011 is around $861 million, which does not include financing costs for that total. Whereas the South Bend Common Council, as the city's fiscal agent pursuant to Indiana Code 822-1-8, is charged with examining costs as well as operational efficiency of city programs. And whereas at the time of its enactment, the city's CSO plan incorporated novel state-of-the-art technology and was based upon then existing knowledge, solutions, and treatment techniques. And whereas in the years since 2011, the city has had the benefit of a wireless sensor and smart valve technology used in the original long-term control plan, almost unique in the world, which has provided real-time, highly reliable data to identify actual needs and points of weakness in the system. And the city has also had the benefit of a comprehensive study of its sewer treatment system. And whereas to date, since 2011, the total sewer overflow volume has been reduced by 70%. Whereas the city, through the cooperation of the administration, the Common Council, and certain interested, knowledgeable community members, and based on its exhaustive, data-driven studies in the past few years, has formulated a new and accurate system and program to control CSO discharges, which reduces substantially the estimated cost of meeting the CSO curtailment objective than either the original or the current projected cost for the CSO plan, which, if adopted and approved by the federal and the state environmental regulatory agencies, will greatly reduce the cost burden on the city utility ratepayers, many of whom are financially disadvantaged. And whereas, on May 2017, the city administration presented to the Common Council and to the public highlights and general description of its new CSO plan at the Council's Utility Committee. And whereas, the South Bend Common Council vigorously supports the city administration's program presented on May 2017 as a quality, green solution to the CSO issues following the city of South Bend as a city on the St. Joe River. Resulting from the city's cooperative efforts, it encourages the United States Environmental Protection Agency, the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, and other regulatory bodies to adopt the city's innovative green plan as a cost-efficient, environmentally effective approach, and grant due modifications to the pending consent decree. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of South Bend as follows. The Common Council hereby states it vigorously supports the City of South Bend's administration's approach to finding a quality solution to the CSO issue facing South Bend as a city on the St. Joseph River. The Common Council hereby states that it encourages the United States Environmental Protection Agency, the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, and any other regulatory body to adopt the city's innovative plan as a cost-efficient, environmentally effective approach, and grant due modification to the pending consent decree. This resolution shall be full force and effect from and after its adoption by the Common Council. It was sponsored by myself, Tim Scott, Council President, and Oliver Davis, Vice President. Are there any questions?
Questions
The
from
true
council
expert is here to address this, Mr. Orlock.
Any other comments or questions? Only questions now?
Only questions right now. Seeing none, we'll open up to the public. Anyone from the public wishing to speak in favor, please come forward. Anyone wishing to speak against, please come forward. With that, I'll turn back to council for comments. Mr. Preston, some comments?
Again, just done a really good job. Thank you, Eric Forbach. Appreciate your presentation before and the innovation that you're bringing to help resolve one of the major issues in our city. Thank you.
Ms. Grover.
Comment, thanks.
Vice President Davis.
Yes, I think if this resolution and our whole proposal is approved, this would be something that would be a model, not only for us, but for other cities. Will utilize what we are doing here to help reduce their problems and situations all over this country. Because this is, a few years ago, was very frustrating. It's amazing, like President Scott said, all three of us who are sponsors of this bill have been utility chair throughout this whole process. Scott, myself, and Dr. Run, all of us. And so this has been a very frustrating situation, as you well know. And now to see some positive light come out of this whole situation, and that some answers and some ideas that we never dreamed about a few years ago are now reality, I think is a real stepping stone and a feather in your cap. And I hope that those in the D.C. area and others will see what we're doing here in South Bend and not only approve this, but also share this with other cities and states.
Thank you. Mr. Gordy, any comments?
Not really, just to congratulate you three council members and Dr. Furlick, who sat on this council last term, for saying, hey, wait a minute, maybe we can do better, and bringing that special committee together of people who have come up with some pretty good results. Thanks very much.
Great work, great resolution.
Thank you. Excellent results.
Thank you, Eric, and for having your team take this on and look at it. I'm glad the council, I'm glad citizens pushed the issue, and I'm glad it's a collaboration by far. So,
motion for adoption?
Second.
Ms. Fowler.
Councilmember Preston?
Aye.
Councilmember Broughton?
Aye.
Councilmember Varner?
Aye.
Vice President Davis?
Aye.
Councilmember Vorty?
Aye.
Councilmember Furlick?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
President Scott?
Aye.
8 ayes.
Thank you.
I wonder if well, I would just like to say thank you for not only your support in this, but helping drive it all along. Dr. Varner has been a key driver from the start on the committee, has been very involved with it, but also the entire council. We've gone through many iterations of presentations. I know sometimes it probably bores you to death with, but the end result was a great work product between the council and the administration to get to something that hopefully will be more affordable for our residents, which is what was driving us all along, but at the same time, as Dr. Varner mentioned, still meets the environmental and water quality goals that we're looking to make sure we met all along. So I just want to say thank you. I appreciate your support and appreciate you pushing the process all along. Thanks.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Dr. Varner. Ms. Fowler, first reading, Bill 3217, please.
3217, first reading on an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of South Bend, Indiana, authorizing the City of South Bend, Indiana to issue its taxable economic development revenue bonds, Series 2017 Studebaker project, and approving the authorizing other actions in respect thereto.
Motion to send the community investment for June 12th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. This time, any unfinished business?
I don't know if my comments would come under unfinished business, probably maybe new business.
Yeah, new business.
New business, okay.
Okay. Any other unfinished business? No? New business. Ms. White?
Okay, I was like, I want this to be part of the record. As most of you are aware, I usually don't miss committee meetings nor council meetings. Today I was unable to attend the committee meetings where the council took action on various committee appointments. These appointments would have been held at our last meeting, but the decision was made to continue that level of discussion until today's committee meetings. I was unable to attend the committee meeting, and knowing that I did indicate to our clerk, that I was unable to do so. Today was my last meeting with my all-unit members, as I will be retiring very soon. I did email my recommendations. However, I was made aware that I had to be present and that my recommendations or my would not be part of the final consideration by the council. I just wanted that to be part of the record because I do take my job very seriously, and I wanted to be noted that I was not here because I had to do what I needed to do at the university, and I wanted that to be part of the record.
Okay, thank you. Any other new business?
I would personally like to thank our current attorney, Aladine DeRose, for being with us through this whole process. So I just want to thank you as we get ready to transition to our new person.
We all thank you.
Thank you, Aladine.
Thanks, Aladine.
Yes.
You can apply for the job come January.
And I think we make sure that next week
we'll recognize her.
We'll recognize it a little bit more.
She's not done yet. So.
I know, she's not done yet. We got a few more things to do, but we just want to thank you.
Any other new business from council? Seeing none, we'll turn to the privilege of the floor. Privilege of the floor, where individuals who wish to address the common council must state their name and address. Individuals are limited to 3 minutes only. Maximum time limit for this portion of the meeting is 30 minutes. Individuals may address only issues which the city has jurisdiction. Individuals shall not be permitted to address any topic that was heard on the previously on the agenda. And common council president will assign topics raised to individuals, either committee members or city administration, or work with the clerk's office. With that, who's up? Name and address, sir, and you have 3 minutes, and Dr. Varner has the time.
I got it. My name is Dave Lapchinsky. I live at 2507 East Corby Boulevard. This matter concerns the 2500 block of Corby Boulevard in South Bend, Indiana. My family has been at this residence for 69 years. I currently live there. No other family has lived in this house. On this particular block, there are 3 other families that are original owners of their homes, meaning no other family has lived there. The problem here is that last week I go outside and Morris Park Country Club has put up a tarp on their cyclone fence in front of my house. Again, my house faces Morris Park Country Club in the 2500 block. People have moved to this area because of my house isn't very big. It's a story and a half Cape Cod. It was built in 1948. But one of the really nice and pleasurable things about where I live is the view across the street. It came to my attention, I broke my leg about a year ago, anyhow. At that time, about 6 or 7 months ago, Morris Park sent a flyer around stating that they were going to put this tarp up. And one of the reasons they were putting the tarp up is they said that cars were stopping and harassing their golfers. I don't know if you've gone down Corby Boulevard any time lately, but there's no car that stops on Corby Boulevard. If you do, you're going to get rear-ended by another car. It's a pretty busy street in South Bend. So that's a bunk reason for putting it up. It's just an eyesore. I would like the tarp taken down. I can provide you with signatures from people on my block. I have photographs of the tarp. This is the first time I've been to a meeting like this, and please excuse my appearance, and I don't know where it goes from here.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sir, do you want the photos back?
It doesn't matter.
Since it's your first time, we'll be in touch with the city administration about code or anything, and then get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thanks. Next, name and address, please.
Good evening. Henry Davis Jr., 5117 Idlewood Drive, South Indiana, 46619. I sent an email to all of you during the course of the meeting. I'm sure you probably didn't get a chance to read it. I'm going to read it off to you. Council members, the South Park Alliance and residents are concerned about the next steps concerning the Charles Block Recreational Center and its renovation. There are some deep concerns regarding the EPA and whatever they have found that may be adverse to the direct community and its residents. We are asking that the members of our elected body set aside revenue to clean up the area and not use the already allocated dollars for proposed new development. What I'm asking is that, and what we're asking is that the money that is set aside to renovate or to build a new Charles Black Center not be used in case of a cleanup that may be needed due to the contamination that may be found in the direct area. So, y'all listen to me? So the point is that there's like, I think $4 million or something that's there. We don't know how much the cleanup will be if there is a cleanup, but the fact that there is something that's found, we were looking for some help from you guys. And that can come to in a resolution form. So maybe get a document signed and say, hey, we want extra dollars allocated to this particular project so that the monies won't be taken away or extracted from what's already been put out inside for the renovation of this new facility. I don't think that's too much to ask for. We're also asking, when is this going to happen? We've been on the hook for a period of time now, and we're still trying to figure out where do we step off at. When do we step on, or do we just kick the bucket and just leave the area? We don't know. 1 minute. I got you. But there is some concerns on our end as a neighborhood alliance association, as residents over there, as taxpayers and citizens. We are asking for these questions to be answered. I think this is the third time. We won't ask anymore. We'll go in to do some other things that we know how to do to get the attention that we need. But we're working with you. We're trying to work with you. We're trying to work through this with you. We just need, a response back from you that makes sense, other than just wait, because we've been waiting for a while. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak privileged floor, please come forward. Thank you, sir. Name and address.
Jerry Davidson, 1126 West Jefferson Boulevard. I too am a concerned citizen, having grown up in that area. I would like all of the same attention that's being given to any other project, whether it be on the west side, the east side, the south side. I would like all of the same attention to be given to, and details and revenues to be put and allocated towards the same thing. Again, I used the illustration, if you had 6 children and all of your children were twins, preferably girls, you would probably dress them all the same way. And so that's all I'm asking, that each district, the monies that are allocated towards whatever is allocated, to be allocated and distributed equally. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, make motion or entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everybody. He carries filters around.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Alvin. Thank you. I'm going to miss you. Dang.
All week. Oh, yeah? Cool. Oh, okay. Well,